Sharpe, Commissioner District 7. We're here at BarCamp. This is the, Mike, what is this, the 6th year of BarCamp?
This is the 6th BarCamp. Correct.
6th BarCamp, and there's behind me the smartest people in Tampa Bay, all talking a language that I don't even understand. But what I do get is this. These guys are making companies, starting companies, making cool things, part of some of the most amazing stuff going on the planet, and it's happening right here. There's a lot of folks who will say that, you know, Tampa Bay doesn't have the tech talent. Well, it does, and a lot of it. And so what I want to do is introduce to my right a gentleman who's helped organize a lot of startup activity, the BarCamp. I have been told he is the man with the plan who knows how it all works. So Mike, could you introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm Michael LaPlante. I'm an organizer for BarCamp as well as Startup Weekend, which is another startup event here in Tampa Bay. I also help run a weekly newsletter about all the tech meetups and events that are happening within the Tampa Bay CT.
So you're like the connector. You're like the Mr. Connector. You
yeah,
connect
Mr.
everybody.
Connector. You're a programmer. You need to get in touch with a business. I'm your guy.
Okay, so I've been told though, because I just participated in one of these little charrettes we had, and one of the guys said, "Hey, there's just the talent issue. There's a talent. Trying to find programmers is really tough." Are you finding that there's a dearth of talent? Is that something that you're, aware of or familiar with?
I think there's an abundance of talent here in Tampa. It's just they have to come out of the cubby holes and look, and the businesses have to really want to go out there. I feel like they say that, but they're not getting out there to reach out to the talent. I mean, if you look behind us, there's an abundance of people behind us here.
Oh, it's amazing. So, and there really are two schools, because I hear this. I hear there's no talent in Tampa Bay. I hear there's a lot of talent. I hear, well, there's a lot of talent, but maybe it's not specific to our needs. I'm hoping that events like this are going to let people know.
Yeah, no, it's an abundance, and I know the other event we organize is Startup Weekend. We have 150 attendees that come out there, and again, that's all tech focused and business focused, and that whole event is about building a business in a weekend. So they have 54 hours, and they take it from idea to full-fledged business by the end of the weekend. So the talent is here. They want to be involved.
Now, have you seen though a big gains in the last 6 years?
I would
for
say
our community?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely growing, and it's still growing. And people are starting here. They're building businesses here. They're looking for investment. I don't want to coin it as the Silicon Valley of Florida, but it's definitely in that area.
He calls it the Silicon Alley. That's his little moniker. We're getting there.
Silicon Valley, Silicon Hills, Silicon Valley. I mean, everyone's got their Silicon Valley, and I wrote something about trying to make Tampa Bay the next Silicon Valley for life sciences, and everyone's like, don't say that, you're going to jinx us. But it's still, I like the idea of being able to be a place where you can create high-wage companies. And speaking of high-wage companies, to my far right, a gentleman by the name of Todd. Todd, you have a company called Exmo.
Correct.
What is Exmo? And you came out of the startup, the startup weekend, is that correct?
Yeah. We went back into it back in November. Came in with an idea of making events better for attendees and organizers. Ended up pitching on Sunday night to basically a panel of local entrepreneurs, judges, things of that nature, and we ended up winning. That was about 9 months ago. We just haven't looked back since. Ended up quitting my job, and we ended up coming back to the most recent startup weekend in June, and we actually came back and launched our public beta.
Okay, so wait, you had a job. Mm-hmm. What were you doing?
I was working at Nielsen.
Working at Nielsen. Mm-hmm. Good job.
Great company.
Hey, a great company. Okay, and you had an idea 9 months ago. Mm-hmm. How long have you been working on this idea?
Since startup weekend.
Really?
So from idea to fruition, it's been, what, about those 4 months since startup weekend?
Yeah, well, we started working on it pretty much the next day, really. It was a pretty crazy story. It was actually during Global Entrepreneurship Week, and all the other winners of startup weekends all across the world actually got to compete against one another. And we had to make a 2-minute video basically kind of telling our story as to why we're better than every other startup that came out of startup weekend. So in 7 hours the day after startup weekend, we scripted, shot, and edited a video that pretty much went viral. Unfortunately, we didn't win the contest, but it was a really great experience.
Yeah, he didn't even win the contest, and he's already here. He's got a company. In fact, I'm going to be doing an event on the 10th of October on transportation, a big event. We're talking now about using Exmo. Do you have a lot of examples like this where you've got ideas that came out of startup weekend which now have been turned into companies or businesses?
Oh yeah, plenty of companies here in Tampa. We have locally Drop Hosted, we have Exmo, and then from the global level, plenty of companies come out. Every event, you see one or two. They're posted to TechCrunch, all the big blog sites.
Now, Giovanna, Okay, you graduated from USF?
Yeah, I'm with HTV. I'm an alumni of a student organization on campus called CreateTech, which is a design and programming student organization, but we also bring in the business sense. So we like to get that startup activity on campus weekly, all the time.
CreateTech. Now, what is CreateTech, though?
Creativity, technology together, that makes CreateTech. We sort of like to focus on the everyman, the kid that's not exactly techie, and then teach them tech, and then the opposite. So get the guy that is techie, but then teach him how to network, how to bring in speakers that will show them business sense, how to get into the startup community, stuff like that.
Yeah, I went to a hackathon that was being hosted on the campus of USF.
Last October.
Was it last October? And it completely changed my world. I walked in knowing really nothing about who hackers were. I know that the city of Tampa had a hackathon. The county was talking about doing one. And I met Giovanna and said, oh my gosh, there's this whole universe of students out there that are self-taught.
Yeah.
I mean, they've taken courses, but they're self-taught.
It's all organic. And then we have students that are not necessarily technology students at all, but want, everybody has to understand the benefits of knowing some Photoshop, knowing some design. So it's important. But Michael, tell us the difference between like a hackathon and startup weekend.
So Startup Weekend is different from a hackathon because we're really about encouraging the entrepreneurship and building the business more so than taking the county's data and just putting it together into like a transportation application. We're about encouraging you from not only taking the data, building that transportation application, but allowing you to have that business, to make the connections, to bring in mentors so you get that knowledge. And then at the end of the weekend, you're able to incorporate and go out and like Todd here, quit your job and go full-time on your business, something you're passionate about, instead of being stuck in that 9-to-5 job where you're like, man, do I have to really get up for work and show my face every day.
And if I could add on to that, coming out of Startup Weekend, I think a hackathon's really great for kind of that weekend. It's kind of you're living in the moment. But Startup Weekend is a really great job at, giving you the right resources and mobilizing the right people to help you kind of take it beyond those 54 hours. And that's really exactly what happened with us after the weekend.
And good ideas come out of hackathons, but not necessarily businesses.
Yeah, I was going to say, one thing we definitely try to do is stay in touch with all of our attendees. So most after the hackathons, we drop off. We try and host the after events. We have constant email communication. If somebody says, hey, we really need help trying to find the right person to raise capital, we'll get on it.
Difference. That really makes all the difference.
We're a community more so than just, hey, we're an event.
Right. So now, you're 24/7, 365 days out of the year.
Yeah, you email me, I will respond no matter what time it is.
That is so cool. So if you're if you got an idea, you got a concept, you want to build a business, you want to be, whether it's the next Steve Jobs or whatever, you got a cool idea.
Yeah, we're the people. We hold two.
You?
So we hold 2 events a year. They can find us at tampa.startupweekend.org. Our next event's actually coming up. It's on November 22nd through the 24th at St. Pete College, their Epicenter campus. We're going to be using their collaborative labs location. It's going to be really cool. They've got whiteboards all over the place, and we're looking to have some really cool stuff come out. It's also part of Global Entrepreneurship Week. So like Todd had the opportunity to last year, if you're one of the winning teams, you have the opportunity to create that pitch video and go global against the entire world and try and win the global competition to see, who had the best idea coming out of the previous weekend and the current weekend.
Well, one of the things that I sense, I love global economics, and we're looking at kind of what moves nations, what moves the world, what's driving business development. And what's fascinating is that the Kaufman report kind of said this, which is don't look to the large, old companies, look to the young, new startups. What was frustrating was it seemed like a lot of that activity was taking place in other areas around the country, not necessarily Tampa Bay. You're part of making it happen here. Mike, do you think we have a fighting chance to keep our best and brightest so they'll want to stay here and start their companies here and not go somewhere else?
I mean, one of the things I've seen is since I've been in the Tampa Bay area for 3 years now, is I see a lot of people are actually quitting their large corporate jobs and they're going full-time, creating their independent jobs. It just allows them to iterate quicker. It allows them to make the personal connections instead of being tied up, having to go through a chain of command. They can make the decisions right there and then. They're out at network events all over the place. It's easier for them to travel. They don't have big expenses.
So Todd, because I just talked to someone who said their company, Forex, I think it is, was out in California. And I went to the webpage. It's a pretty cool webpage. I'm like, wow, why'd you leave? And he said, have you seen the taxes? The taxes, it's tough on business. They're here. So now your company becomes super successful. Are you staying in Tampa Bay?
We'd love to. I think it's a really great environment here. We obviously got our start from here. We've learned a lot, the connections. It's obviously extremely business friendly. We don't really have a reason to leave.
Well, we want you to stay here. I mean, this is what's so cool about what Mike's doing, and I can tell you, I haven't really had a chance to meet you. I followed you from afar. I've learned of Mike. I mean, seriously, because I'm a big fan of Startup Week. And I was like, you know what? We're all looking at the wrong thing. Everybody's looking at the big corporate business that we're going to relocate from someplace else. And what we're missing is this incredible creativity and all these incredibly smart people like Jovan and others who I'm just saying are just amazing. And they're right here saying, hey, we're in our cubby holes. You don't see us because we're working our butts off. But you know what? We're the ones that could use a little help so that we can start our business, pay taxes, hire people, pay them well, and make Tampa Bay a cool place to live. Otherwise, you think Tampa Bay is a cool place?
Oh, I love it. I mean, the beach is, 15, 30 minutes from wherever you live.
It's much cooler than what people think. I have family here, and as a kid, I used to visit, and I really thought Tampa Bay was a place where old people came to die. That's
what you hear. But I mean, at the event behind us here at BarCamp Tampa Bay, we've had the Florida Robotics Group. We have kids that age from 6 to 14 that are in there building robots, that are shooting frisbees outside. I mean, they're doing these crazy things. So you talk about
cool.
best and brightest minds. It's right here.
It's young. If you look at the median age, I mean, we're a lot younger than people think. The challenge is, though, a lot of our young talent still believes once they graduate from college, they got to go to a different city. And what we're beginning to sense, and I really think BarCamp has had something to do with it. That through BarCamp and Startup Week and these activities that you sponsored, people are saying, wait a minute, there's a lot more to Tampa Bay, and there's a lot more things I can do right here.
Definitely.
Anything else?
I would want you to explain a little bit more about the concept of BarCamp because, people ask, what is BarCamp? How do you answer that?
Okay, so a BarCamp is what we call an unconference. So all the attendees show up in the morning, and if they'd like to do a talk, we open the registration form the morning of, and they can just pick a time, pick a room, and then they can give their talk. So it gives the opportunity for the everyday person. It's not a big name speaker, and they can come in, they can make their name for themselves. I know I've seen some cool talks out there today on user experience, how hip hop relates to design and development. We were flying gyrocopters around in one of the rooms. We had a user experience guy come in, and he was just judging people's homepage, giving them advice. So I definitely think it's about the everyday person connecting the community, really getting everybody involved and giving people a chance to be in the light that wouldn't normally get that opportunity.
Well, Todd, I hope that we were able to work with you. I hope that you're successful. I'm going to be following you.
Thank you.
And, I want to say, Mike, I appreciate what you're doing here. This BarCamp is amazing. I mean, this is going to be a regular part of my calendar, and I'm hoping that others who really aren't part of this community will come and see the tremendous talent we got behind us. You don't see a lot of, most of the people are sitting in classrooms right now, talking and engaging and having an incredible time, hooking up, connecting, and thinking about the next business they're going to start, or thinking about the program or company they've got now and how they're going to make it that much more successful. Giovanna? Thank you.
I just wanted to add, talk about coming from a distance. We had a gentleman here today from Kuwait that was talking with people. So talk about traveling from a distance to come to Tampa Bay for an event.
Cool.
That's where it's at.
They flew in just to come to here.
I mean, I meet people at BarCamp every year that I end up connecting with and working on projects with throughout the year. Same with Startup Weekend. So these are connections that really last the length of your professional careers. Yeah.
Well, make sure you attend. Follow them online. They're at BarCamp Tampa. Twitter, that's their Twitter feed. And there's some cool things going on in Tampa Bay. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.